Okay. I think everything's good to go. Welcome back, everybody. I think I'm echoing and I don't know who. Everybody's muted. I guess
Okay, me.
oh, maybe it's Stan.
I got a new mic, so it's
Gotta set that sensitivity lower.
yeah.
Or wear a headset.
This fancy guy with his headset over here.
Okay, back. Alright, so let's recap. You all, last time, it was kind of a short session, but a lot of stuff happened. For the record, you all hit level 17, so if you have things to do with your level up, do them now. You did get the effects of a long rest, but you are at, if you were at the tower, you have 3 levels of exhaustion at least. Actually, you know what, Varel, you shouldn't be at 3 as well, instead of 4. Anyway, so backing it up a little bit. You all met with Mel in the temple in the mountain of Mount Cairn, where he divulged to you what happened to Johoff in the years after the events that transpired. He and his band of little shits were a resistance unit who fought valiantly against the efforts of the Shadowvar for many years, using the Mythalar to recoup their injuries quickly and to head back out into the conflict over and over and over, time and time again, until effectively all of his little shits were in their 30s and 40s, at least in their bodies, despite being only teenagers. All of them eventually were slain by a general, Shadowvar general named Janus, who beat Johoff within an inch of his life, where Mel stepped in, rescued Johoff, and then eventually they came back, gathered the bodies, and buried them in this temple, where Johoff remained for the rest of his time, slowly letting his body wither to time as he died of natural causes. Then, Mel, in his distraught nature, hid deep in the ground with the Mythalar and slumbered, aging 2,500 years while you all were traveling through time. And then that's where you met him, and so that's sort of catching up with Mel. You, at the temple, learned all of this and convinced Mel to give you the Mythalar to carry out your completion of the loop, sending Marin back in time. You met with Marin, who was not pleased that you had said things about betraying the gods and working with Sardior to sort of restore the original draconic primordial power that used to control the material plane. But eventually, Isolde lied to him, and Varel used his time magic to make sure that he fell for it. You all went to Cholt, where you began the ritual, traveling through the jungles, stepping into a time bubble, briefly interacting with Grasshopper Squad before making your way to the tower, where you eventually found their remains. You then... Leif just left and came back. Hopefully everything's okay. You then got into the tower and discovered Varel's already constructed tower meant to carry out this ritual, and there you began working through the magics to figure it out, before all of a sudden the egg, the crystal egg that Marin had brought along, hatched, and out of it popped a small crystal wormling with immense psychic power, who basically overpowered all of you and started taking control of the situation, throwing people against walls, charming people, and effectively controlling the situation until he instructed you on how to send Marin back. He taught Varel the Wish spell and taught Damon the Modify Memory spell. The Modify Memory spell allowed for Damon to unlock his origin, learn where he came from, and ultimately discover why he was created. Love. The Wish spell was cast with a huge wave of energy, which sort of broke space and time, causing all of you to become exhausted from just experiencing this massive explosion of energy. And you realized in the process of this casting of the spell that it is the casting of this spell, Varel's use of Wish to send Marin back in time, that ends up creating the time bubbles on Chult, which have haunted this place for, well, all time and always will. You now are sitting, at least those of you who are at the tower, are sitting in sort of the remains of, I mean, the tower's still fine, but sort of witnessing the fallout of that situation. Lyra lies unconscious on the floor. All of you are exhausted. You've gained points of, or you've gained level 17. You've gained the effects of a long rest, so you have your spells back, but you are in bad shape. Third level of exhaustion, by the way, is disadvantage on attacks and saving throws. So, pretty dicey situation. And I guess the people who are there are currently Lyra, Lyra, Varel, Damon, Isolde. Is that it? Oh, and Hrodel, the silver dragonborn. And we're going to pick up instead back at the temple. Where at the tower, you all wake up. Sort of coming to after the blast in the room. Let me throw you at least to this screen.
And you say we have the benefits of a long rest except for the 3 levels of exhaustion?
Correct. Like an eerie silence fills the tower. Marin is gone. Lyra unconscious on the floor. And you all sort of blink. You did it. Isolde, your newfound magical powers, you feel in the presence of Hrodel, energy flowing through you. Your mark sort of unlocked, growing perhaps in size, expanding. The original mark of Ilmater seems to have sort of like stretched and spun in new directions, like a fractal sort of unwinding. And it almost doesn't even look like Ilmater's mark anymore.
Yeah, originally it was like I think a small mark on her neck because of the battle cry ability. So we'll say it's more like a pretty sizable throat tattoo now, a neck tattoo. But it does look a bit more like the tattoos of her family that are on the side of her head. If that's cool.
It is cool.
But she'll stand up and look around and just make sure that everyone is alive.
Everyone seems alive, just based off your, I'm going to say, passive medicine check. Everyone's alive. There's no trace of Marin. Hrodel is sort of sitting quietly, almost as though he's sort of lost his power. He just doesn't seem to have that presence that he had before. He's sort of just sitting there like a quiet, cute little dragon wormling. And Lyra is unconscious on the ground. You can see that she's breathing.
Shit. What are we going to do about Lyra? Oh, this was bad. This all kind of went sideways.
It went as it needed to, but I'm not sure what to do about her.
I mean, we have to make sure that she gets back home safe. But she's definitely going to think that we are not very trustworthy. I guess we aren't. I guess we aren't very trustworthy. I know that that was the right thing to do, but there's a small part of me that feels very bad for tricking Marin like that.
It was the gods who tricked him first. All of us.
I suppose that is true. But Marin was trying his best, I think. Oh well. Can't linger around that now. We can't leave Lyra here. I don't know how to get her back. She could get herself back, I imagine. But we would have to wake her up, and she might attack us. I don't know. You have teleportation, though, is there? But you probably couldn't bring her to Yithrin.
I do not know the sigil.
Right. And all of the places that you do know sigils to are probably pretty dangerous. Mossstone and Candlekeep.
I would think so. Not too many safe places to go.
What do we know about Silvery Moon? Is it dangerous as well? I guess everywhere is.
Seems we'll
Maybe
have to
we
talk
should
to Lyra.
sleep. I suppose so. This tower is safe for now, though. Yeah?
It ought to be. In various forms, we have guild members outside of it.
Hmm. Perhaps we should just rest until she wakes up then.
Should we take any steps to encourage the conversation?
Probably. I have something called dimensional shackles.
Gnarly.
Yeah. I bought them a long time ago. But I think they just prevent teleportation. Hang on a sec. Let me read this. Yeah, I guess I'll put these John, do you have access to my items, or should I maybe put this in the chat?
You can post it in the chat.
Super
Yeah.
useful.
It was back when we had a bunch of money and I bought like Dust of Disappearance and these and some of that like ointment that acts as like the heroism spell. I have a bunch of weird shit in here. Potions of mind reading.
Okay. Yeah, you put the dimensional shackles on Lyra, who's still unconscious.
Um, does she look like she needs healing?
She's got like a small bruise on her head. She looks like she was just thrown against a wall. So she could take some healing, but that would probably wake her up. You would know.
Alright, then I will just keep watch on her. And yeah. I think I'll just sit next to her.
I changed your level for you, Darren.
Yeah, Varel as well is sort of passively taking in the revelation Hrodel gave him before casting Wish, and then also being somewhat apprehensive about when Lyra wakes up. If it comes to it, Varel would say to Izzy, honestly, I'm not sure how to phrase this, but I have this. Didn't need to roll anything there, but the idea is that it's a charm spell to have Lyra carry out some course of action as we see fit. But
So
it
we
is
could just tell her to go home?
somewhat more coercively, I think, but yes.
That might be the kinder course of action. It also would remove, I think, the risk of her trying to attack us before she goes.
Suppose we'll wait if it comes to it. Or we could just decide that this is the way to do it. Do we want to have a conversation to see if we can convince her on her own, or...
I think it would be best. At this point, perhaps it is better that we have nothing to hide.
Perhaps
She
I could
knows.
try something.
Oh?
Yes, perhaps I could just convince her that everything here went according to plan. Marin left as he intended and as she knew he would intend to do. With the idea being that I will use this again.
I was wondering about that.
Another good option.
Humane.
What is the risk of her knowing that we are not allied with her anymore, just that we will not have the resources of Ythrin? Or do you think that they would send forces against us?
Are we no longer allies?
I don't know. We attacked her companion. It might be like an enemy of my ally is my enemy kind of thing if we did such awful things to Marin.
Did we actually attack Marin? Or just
No,
modified his memory and
we
sort of
just
betrayed him?
modified his memory. Yeah, he seemed pretty shocked about it all. We lied to him a bunch.
We did to Marin what we had to do in the moment. We did not come here with the intent of any malicious actions against Marin, but in this moment, it became clear what was necessary.
Indeed.
Should we choose to allow Lyra to think that we are no longer allied with Eastman, we will be denied the closest we have to a safe sanctuary.
And it seems we are the only party who still has non-malicious intent. It is either ally with us or be alone against the Shadowvar at this point.
True.
I need all of you to roll me a d6. All of you that's there, so the three of you.
Love when you say that.
Hate when you say that.
Okay.
It's a very pleasing sequence of numbers.
I was thinking the same thing.
What do you do?
So, let's think about this from Lyra's perspective. Lyra and Marin and us traveled here with the intent to send Marin back in time. She saw a crystal dragon wormling. She saw us cast magic against Marin, but we did fulfill the promise of sending him back. Perhaps it is not as bad as... Maybe I just have a very guilty feeling soul. Maybe it is not as bad as we think.
We are guilty, I suppose, to the extent that we've betrayed Marin's plan and Marin's faith in the gods. But it seems to me, at least, that that faith and that plan was ill-founded, and so also is our guilt.
It is somewhat comforting to think.
Lyra has seen the truth. I'm sure she knows it is to her advantage and to ours to proceed as the path is laid out.
All right. We will try to reason with her then. Perhaps she would be more... more willing to speak with us if she did not wake up in shackles. Maybe I should take these back off.
Varel doesn't say anything, but maybe a slight look of apprehension kind of appears. He's not altogether opposed to reasoning with somebody while taking precautions. You could probably discern that just by looking at his face, but
Yeah.
I tend to agree with you, Captain. Awaking in shackles is the situation that you find yourself in when you are faced with an enemy, not a friend. It does seem it sends the wrong message. I would like to take precautions, but this one seems like it will cost us in terms of Lyra's opinion of us, whatever result happens.
Zilda will take the shackles back off and put them in her bag and take out like her bedroll or blanket or whatever and put that over Lyra instead.
You took the shackles off?
Yeah.
You put a bedroll on Lyra.
could I prep Gaius or Gaius, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, in anticipation of needing it, but without actually executing it?
I think
Since
if you did, it would be pretty obvious.
Okay. It takes a minute to cast, but I suppose I'll wait and see if I need that minute.
Sure.
We should probably rest while we can. I don't know about you all, but I feel like this whole situation is more than I was prepared for. And I'm just gonna look over at the little crystal dragon. What is he doing?
His eyes are closed. Roll me a... Religion check?
Oh, I guess it would be a disadvantage. In a
Yeah,
second.
not bad. The 17. His mind is elsewhere.
Okay.
He might be scrying right now.
All right. Yeah, Zelda would just kind of like sit down against the wall next to Lyra and not mean to, but maybe slowly close her eyes.
Varel would be studying Valindra's spellbook still, waiting for Lyra to wake up.
One thing about Valindra's spellbook is that one of the things you know is that nobody else can cast spells here because the weave is gone. So a spellbook for somebody like Valindra is going to involve different ways of accessing magic, in particular using what's called the Shadow Weave. So any spell that you learn from that book is going to operate using that sort of mechanic, if you will. You're essentially learning a different way to do magic.
And I imagine if it uses the Shadow Weave, that is, I don't know how else to say, but probably monitored in some way by our enemies, or they would be aware that that magic is being used. So Varel wouldn't cast anything out of hesitation for that.
Well, one thing you might glean is that you've noticed, that you can only cast spells because of your mark. You know Marin could only cast spells because of his mark. Same with every member of your squad. Valindra had no mark. So the Shadow Weave seems to enable people without marks to cast magic on this plane of existence at the moment. But you know that to be a very small group of people, or at least not a lot of people have claimed to be able to use magic.
Interesting.
Roll me an intelligence check right now.
Probably with disadvantage,
Yeah.
yeah. Let me just see if I have anything that might help offset that, but I don't think that I do. Oof.
Never mind.
Varel's pretty tired, so yeah.
You think to yourself, there's something weird about this, but your brain is too hazy. You just performed a spell that the last time somebody tried to perform it, the gods turned off magic and it wiped out entire civilizations. So, you're kind of tired.
Not trying to get ahead of myself or anything, yeah.
Well, I guess technically the last time it was performed, Marin did it and sent you guys 30 years in the future. But that was old Marin, and he died promptly afterwards.
Yes.
And you guys just sent the young Marin off to go do that. Hooray.
Hooray.
Hey, he asked for it.
Did he? He asked you for it. But did he have a choice?
Too tired to think about those questions.
Lyra stirs and opens her eyes. She sees herself covered in a blanket and sort of looks confused. How long was I out?
Not long, I think.
Did it work?
Yes.
She sort of rubs her head where her bruise and scrape is, sort of quietly wincing. What
Are you all right?
happened?
Some sort of blast of magic, I guess.
Yes, the great light filled the sky. I remember it now. We should move.
We should. We should go back together, and I think we are all in need of some rest.
Of course. And she starts drawing on the ground a teleportation circle.
Could I roll an insight check to see if
Yep.
she's being nefarious here?
Sure. Roll with disadvantage.
I discern nothing.
Can we all do that?
You think she might be in love with you, Vegro. Yeah, everybody can do that.
As Ulda is mainly wondering, like how suspicious Lyra is of them. Like if that initial look that she gave everyone was, I don't fucking know.
She looks frazzled. She also is at 3 points of exhaustion. She seems
Yeah.
genuine.
Okay.
She's chalking away on the ground.
Farrell, is there anything that we need from Jolt before we leave it?
I don't believe so.
Nothing in this tower of use to you?
I'm actually checking my notes, but I don't believe so. I believe it's... I may take the apple, just for sentimentality's sake, but I don't think...
The
No
apple
journal.
that you left for yourself.
Yeah. But as I look at my notes, I don't see any of that old stuff being here. I think just due to the nature of the time that we're here. So I would, if I haven't already, I would leave the notes that I left, or that I found rather,
Yeah,
many
we
sessions
we
ago.
wrapped that up last time. You basically set up the scene as you left it when you found it. If that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah. Well then, long story short, he would grab the apple. Well, no, he wouldn't grab anything. He would just say
Yeah.
no.
So you set up a scene that eventually past you will come to see and learn about these kinds of things. She finishes the circle, but as she's finishing the circle, Isolde, with your passive perception, even this fucked up, you look out the window and you see curious sight. Cholt itself is still touched by the merger insofar as the sky is filled with, the stars are gone and there is an eclipsed sun in the sky, but because of the angle of the eclipse, a certain amount of light normally touches Cholt, as though it's sort of outside of the focal point of the eclipse. As you were traveling through Cholt, you noticed this, as this place seems almost a little bit like in perpetual day, almost. It's a little bit lit up compared to where you were up north, where it was very dark all the time. You see out of the corner of your eye the eclipse shifting. The sun, which shone, maybe a third of its light is now being eclipsed more as the moon moves its direction. Sort of like an iris looking at a new point. Cholt grows dark.
Wow, don't like that.
Lyra finishes the circle and holds her hand out as you guys gather to hold hands. Hrodel sort of comes to. There are problems. Something is coming. We should move. And he joins in, sort of holding out his wings for you to grab them.
I
you
will do
all-
so.
Likewise.
Damon
I
too?
will also join the circle.
You all gather in the circle. And Lyra finishes the spell. And nothing happens.
Fuck.
She looks down at the chalk and sort of reviews her coordinate and starts penning on it again. Maybe she made an error, so she sort of wipes off an area and redraws it. Holds out hands again. Nothing. Panic washes over her face. What do you all do?
What is happening, Lyra? How can we help?
The circle, it's not working. Either something's wrong with my magic, or the circle in Ythryn has been changed.
We send a message to Ythryn. Who can I send a message to check?
She sort of jumps to it and begins sending messages to people, guards who are at Ythryn. And you hear her just say, like, report. And then she sits silent for a second. Report. Silence again. She looks up at you. They're not responding. Something has happened in Ythryn.
Without Marin there to balance power, might Aureus have taken the chance to consolidate power?
It's entirely possible. But if that's true, we have no way of getting back there.
Do we have anywhere else to go?
She starts thinking, where else is there to go?
We need to go somewhere. With this place is a beacon. The moon is looking at us.
Isolde, far off on the horizon, you see the wings of the largest dragon you've ever seen. Described to you only once by Lyra. With those wings flapping, it's almost as if the sky grows darker with each beat of its wings. The horizon continues to get a darker, inky black as it moves closer and closer towards you.
We need to go now. I think Seftis is coming. Somewhere, anywhere. Varel.
Varel
Mustone?
to Mostone?
I don't know.
On our Faerun map, I see Waterdeep marked with an E. We needed to go there at some point, did we not?
You know that there is a general there.
And I know I have a teleportation circle there, if I'm not mistaken. Since we have a prerogative to go to Waterdeep, and this is the worst place to be, I think I would sketch Waterdeep. A teleportation circle for Waterdeep.
Nice.
Eesh.
Okay. You begin sketching a teleportation circle for Waterdeep.
Hang on, I see one marked A as well for Mostone. I didn't realize that. if we could retcon, since our captain suggested Mossstone and we have a prerogative there too.
That's also like the seat of Shar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a giant floating Netherese city above Mossstone, and
Okay,
you know
yeah.
Shar lives
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
You
Let's
can tell
forget
that
about
she was saying that like pure panic. Isolde, thinks of Mossstone as like the home safe place and is not speaking clearly.
Okay. If Vero could actually consult his notes, then he would probably be aware of that. So let's do Waterdeep.
Okay. You know that the Shadowvar took over Waterdeep, so it is a contested zone.
It seems everywhere is contested. Oh, Terran recommends an island.
You guys also forgot Terran and Vosner are far away. I don't know what your plan is to get them, but might be worth considering.
Do we have any way of getting to them?
Lyra can do like location-based teleporting. Like she can send you to a point.
Oh,
It's just risky.
Yeah. I should also reset Sanctuary to that temple, probably.
that is the smartest thing I've heard. So
Yes. Back to Terran and Vosner then.
Okay. She gathers you all together, and she casts teleport, sending you all to the temple. Now, at the temple, before you all arrive, I wanted to do a little bit of a discussion with Terran and Vosner about what it is that you'd like to do with Mel. I'm going to send you back to this scene where we're going to make Mel visible. There, Vosner, you get a long rest, by the way. Both get a long rest if you haven't had one. And you're level 17.
So Taryn just wanted to like see if he can like unlock more of his like dragon powers through being mentored by a gigantic silver.
Yeah. Fair enough. There is.
Just take this time to become more of a dragon druid.
Yeah.
I don't think too much has changed for Vosner. I've become a little bit more proficient, but for the most part, I just get a level 9 spell, I think.
Yeah.
So I had to choose that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if there's a level 9 spell, that would make sense that Mel taught it to you. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Same
then
with Terran, I guess.
Yeah. He would also kind of push or ask about like the shadow dragon, how they're like constant, because they seem to be like how interplanet dragons work.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit there.
So he would be asking about like how shadow dragons like are constantly different because they seem to be different.
Oh, yeah. So Mel would tell you that shadow dragons are regular dragons corrupted by the Shadowfell. So red dragons, green dragons, black dragons, even metallic dragons can be corrupted and become a shadowy version of themselves. It's one of the reasons why Mel hid underground with the Mythalara, was that he was afraid of just like the constant exposure to the shadow would eventually make him corrupt, and so he was just trying to like sleep through this age, so to speak.
Mhm.
The corruption of the shadow dragons is one that just like sort of slowly destroys your soul. It does have certain positive capabilities. It allows you to like shadow teleport and in a realm where the shadow is combined with the material plane, unless there is like an active light source, these beings can effectively shadow teleport anywhere all the time, in small distances.
Okay, yeah, cool.
So potentially, if you harvested the, essence of a large shadow dragon, you might be able to gain that ability. But it might come at a cost.
Yeah. Taryn will kind of note like the cold decaying
Um,
scales that he has.
yeah. So, hanging out with Mel for even this amount of time, Taryn, for the purposes of sort of giving you a buff to your breath attack. Your breath weapon right now does, what is it? 66 cold. That's gonna be 68 now.
Okay.
So he's slowly like improving your cold ability. And there will be probably another buff later if you kill him and harvest his essence. No, I'm just kidding. If you train with him longer.
Yeah. Awesome.
Does Vosner want to do anything in this temple? He was sort of not present last time.
Yeah, I guess Vosner is obviously devastated, but proud of Joe Hoff, the way he went out, sticking it to the gods and everyone else to the very end. I think he would like to know if there are any like dragons that are left, that are not corrupted, that Mel would know about.
Yeah.
And
That's
yeah.
a good question. So, Mel doesn't know which dragons are left, though. When it comes to ancient dragons, oftentimes they slumber deep in mountains or caves or underground caverns for thousands, hundreds of years before they eat. So the potential is that there are a number of dragons that have been untapped. Now, a certain number of them, you killed Joe off again. A certain number of them
Serves him right.
have were participated in that final fight. They were tapped. They came out of their places and fought, and were killed. And many of them were corrupted. Some were pretty easily turned to the cause of Shar, who basically said that we're going to overthrow this place and make it our own. She's sort of scorning the gods as well, so these dragons saw her as an ally in that sense. But there are probably others. One variable in that equation is that there is a being or a person known as Gilgamesh that you guys briefly knew, who is much like Terran, who for the past 30 years has flown around this place in an airship, killing dragons and harvesting their essence. He's very well known for having done this. Yeah, he was part of the Whalers. That's what they were called.
Do you know where he is now? Do you have an idea, Mel?
With the Queen.
With the Queen.
Of
Is
Lusk.
she of where?
Of Lusk.
She's in the island where the Gunderland people came.
I thought you said
the vampire king took over.
Do you know if she is against the Shadow War or allied with it?
She stands against the Shadowfar. Though, in reality, she stands mostly for herself.
Well, guess an enemy of our enemy, at least for the time being, makes a good sword to bear. Let's see. Is there maybe we can reach out to her, Taryn? I don't know any spells that can communicate with people. Do you?
I have one I old, but I'm saving that for when we go back to Yithrin.
Yeah.
This seems like a decision to make back in Yithrin when we everyone together.
Yeah, that seems to be a good idea. Yithrin seems to be our last place to go. Mel, what will you do as we depart? Will you go back into hiding?
I guess not. I am awake now. I will do what I can.
Do you have a place that you can hunker down?
This place, unless somehow they learn of it, should be safe for a while. I can keep it snowy here for quite some time. That will obfuscate them.
Is it possible that you can take your human form and go into hiding? Maybe travel with us and
I can no
that
longer
might be easier.
return to my human form. I've grown too large and powerful to switch back.
Taryn, obviously respects that.
Wow. It's pretty great. I think since Mel is a large weather controlling dragon, I think he'll teach me Storm Vengeance. That sounds awesome.
Sick. Sign me up.
I'll have to find it in this book now.
Okay.
But yeah, I think where are the spells again? Which
Compendium item DDB spells.
compendium item?
Yeah,
Journal?
I picked up Warm, so he could teach me the ice version.
Yeah. Jesus, y'all are gonna be crazy.
Compendium. Oh, there we go.
I found it.
Item.
Make sure y'all are updating your HP and everything. I just increased your level. I didn't change any of that.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you guys are all just casters with no health. Got it. Never mind.
Get out of here.
Got
my
it.
HP actually went down. So
What? Jesus. Almost some of you won't die at full health from a power word kill, so that's good.
That's helpful.
Yeah. Poor Damon.
Is so it might be helpful to reach out to the Queen and Gilgamesh. Do you know if he's Mel, do you know if we can reverse the corruption of these dragons? If it's possible.
He thinks for a moment. I suppose anything is possible. I don't know. I've never seen it. But you are all capable of many things I have never seen, so perhaps if anyone could do it, it would be you all.
Well, I hope that that's the case. And we didn't see anything with the wormling or anything like that, so we just think it's still egg.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm kind of liking our Vosner Terran adventure. We've been pals since the beginning.
That's
Quite literally.
Yeah.
dragon buddies.
Dragon buddies. Yeah. Okay.
As you are sort of wrapping up this conversation, you notice the sky grow brighter as the moon shifts, sort of showing a little bit more of the sun as the sort of focal point of the moon changes directions. And it grows brighter here. And Mel looks up at the sun, sort of startled. I've never seen it do that.
Can I make like a religion check to see if there's like a sign in it?
Yeah. No, you have no idea. You're like,
Fair.
You think you were as a kid, you were once told that it's good luck. Okay, that's good luck.
Yeah. I'm gonna do an
say something like, hopefully it's good fortune.
Bosner, it is not good fortune. A very powerful being has shifted its focus towards some other part of the planet, and you know very well that your friends are on a different part of the continent. And based on the trajectory, it is likely that your party in Cholt has become the focus of the ire of some very angry god.
So this is like the Eye of Sauron.
Effectively.
All right. So you said the moon? Or
Yeah,
the
the
sun?
moon is in front of the sun, providing an eclipse. And
Sweet.
as the moon moves slightly, it changes what part of the continent is eclipsed.
Gotcha. So is it like Saloon getting pissed since she's like in charge of that stuff, or are we still completely utterly cut off? Can I not like infer?
Saloon is disconnected. She has no part in the moon anymore.
Presumably it's Shar or the giant dragon.
But it's not shifting towards us.
No, shifting away from you. Causing this area to lighten up a little bit.
Gotcha.
And I say, as a few moments go by, Isolde, Varel, Damon, and Lyra all show up. I'm gonna say outside the temple. I'm guessing you're gonna go inside the temple, so I'll just spare you. The the scene you three show up. Let me put Lyra here somewhere.
Why? What happened? Why did you come here? Come back to us.
You're still cutting out a little bit, Stan. I don't know if it's like...
I had to adjust my sensitivity up a lot to get the feedback. So
Yeah.
I overdid it.
Yeah. Happens to the best of us.
We were able to send Marin back, but I think the amount of magic that it drew attention. A lot of stuff happened. The egg hatched.
Oh yeah, so the baby dragons too.
Yep.
Whoa. That's new. I look at our wormling friend.
I am, in fact, very old.
And I look up at Mel.
Mel
See if
is
that...
literally kneeling before Frodel as he comes into the room.
Oh. Then you're one of the aspects of Sardior,
Indeed.
one of his children.
Not quite.
I am Vosner. It is an honor to meet the true life of nature. So
You
I
feel...
earnestly...
Oh, Vosner, as you say that, you feel a wave of peace and calm in your head. It's like the sound of being in the forest, birds chirping, like leaves rustling in the wind. You feel at ease staring at the crystal dragon wormling in front of you.
Awesome. I'd just say essentially that I'll do everything in my power to restore the dragons.
So Lyra's here and watching this, right?
Yeah, Lyra sort of walks in sheepishly. She's a little stunned since Ythryn is now off. Like, the reason you needed a teleportation circle to get to Ythryn was that it is shielded by anti-magic and such that no one can get in unless they have that spell. So nobody can teleport into Ythryn.
Yeah. Taryn's like a little uncomfortable just like out and talking about this stuff in front of Lyra, but he'll be like, it's an honor to meet you.
Yeah.
He looks at Vosner and says, "Soon I will show you the heart of the forest."
Yeah, a big smile creeps across his face. He says, "May it be so." So, I guess we're going to return to Ythryn. Kind of looks at everyone, up at Izzy, and tries to see what the hell's going on.
No, not exactly. Something is wrong in Ythryn. Lyra said she couldn't get a hold of anyone to check the transportation sigils, and they weren't working, so I don't know what's happening in Ythryn, but we cannot go back. Not right now.
Do we think they found it? Or do we think it was like a coup or Aureus on the inside?
Any theory is as good as the next. We have no clues to determine what happened.
Taryn will look to Lyra and say, do you think the wards would have held up without you?
No one knows how powerful Aureus is. He has been tinkering away in his labs for years. It is possible that whatever he's been working on has come to fruition. Perhaps he's taken over Ythryn in our absence.
But you don't think the wards against entrance and scrying would have been overcome in just those few days that you were gone?
The wards are part of the city structure itself. It's what created it as such a powerful place. the city itself powers it through a different kind of magic than the weave, so that that anti-magic field was present when we got there.
Can I insight check her?
Yep.
Just. God.
She's truthful.
So it is more likely than not that the attack came from the inside than from Shar and her people.
Yes. Though, if Shar and the Shadowvar did find the entrance, it is possible that they came in the old-fashioned way. Given our current high-profile nature, it's not impossible that they doubled their efforts on finding it. Until recently, they had no reason to go looking for us. In fact, I'm sure they just assumed we were gone. And you see sort of a disappointed look on Mel's face, sort of knowing that Marin and Lyra and all of those members of the guild were available and instead chose to hide for the last 30 years.
So what do we do now?
Frodo looks up at all of you and says, I will need to travel to an island in the center of the continent. That is where you will bring the fragments requisite for carrying out the ritual.
Will you need an escort there?
I think I already have one. Then he sort of looks over at Mel. Mel nods.
So my working assumption is that's the Sea of Fallen Stars.
He says, yes.
Okay.
That is what you have come to call it. There's a rather large island in a series of islands in the center of that sea. And that is where you will find the heart of the forest. And that is where we will carry out the ritual.
So we will collect the shards and then meet you there.
Yes. By whatever
How
means
safe?
necessary.
How safe is the island? Could it be a new place for us to hunker down? Or do we want to just collect everything and then go there and not draw attention?
It is best to not draw attention to it, though I will be calling upon my kin. I will be summoning them there, in mass, to create a defense. Once we are ready and can bring back Sardior, we will need all of the help we can get, so that he is not slain again.
Is it possible to free the corruption of the dragons, regardless of their color or metallic state?
Perhaps. It would require some very powerful magic. But by that point, maybe you will all possess it. I must conserve my energy, however. If we are to carry out this task, since I am the only living, Thane of Zardior, I will need to be much more powerful by that point.
Okay. Understood.
Mel looks at all of you and says, "You're welcome to use this temple as a base of sorts. There's not much in terms of supplies. You'll have to go elsewhere to look for those, but it should provide you with safety from scrying. And it's very difficult for anyone to follow you on foot, especially in these mountains. In all the years that Johoff and his little shits went out and fought, this place was never discovered. It would take a very capable wizard to be able to discover this location. And some powerful artifacts."
Oh, I guess while I'm there, is Joe Hoff's body? Did we bury it or anything?
Nope.
Or is
It's
it just
just
laying?
chilling right there, decayed, preserved by the high altitude.
Nice.
Chillin' indeed.
Vosner will put some of his trademark funeral flowers up on that piece.
Give him like a little wreath.
A little wraith
Nice.
in the shape of sort of like, some nice red flowers. He seemed to be a fiery guy.
You drape red flowers over the mummified corpse of Johoff.
Nice.
Hrodel and Mel begin to depart. He turns back to you and says, "Good luck." And all of you get the buff of Foresight for the next 24 hours.
Whoa.
What is that?
It gives you advantage on all saving throws and attack rolls, and Vosner had it once cast on him, and it gives you attack. It gives you advantage on everything, and people who attack you have disadvantage against you.
Oh, cool. It'd be really great if we weren't all exhausted. Take advantage of that.
But it's 24 hours, so after if you clear up your exhaustion.
That's true.
Anyways, they walk away into the snow unless you say anything to them.
I'll wish them well.
Yeah, likewise.
See you soon.
And they fade off. You now find yourself at Johoff's Temple for Little Shits. No longer in the presence of Hrodel or Mel. You have 3 levels of exhaustion. Those of you who are at the tower, the rest of you have 0. Oh, Lyra's still here, I guess. She sort of slumped against the corner. Not sure what to do. I don't have a token for her. I just realized her token is like broken. So maybe I can copy it. There you go.
Casters.
Can we take a long rest and deal with our exhaustion?
Yeah, I'll say if you guys dedicate a day to just to working on your exhaustion, just like really chilling. I'll say if you're like just chatting or whatever, we'll get rid of 2 levels of it.
And that's
Nice.
like a whole 24 hours.
Yeah.
Can we?
Well,
If
not
we
a
have-
whole 24 hours. I was just gonna say, like, it's probably evening now,
Mhm.
so you can go to sleep, and that would get rid of 1. That'd be 8 hours, and then you could dedicate more time. And
like dedicate another 8 hours.
Yeah.
Or could we? I don't know. Like spells alleviate it. We can
Greater
alleviate a
restoration.
lot. Rest for 8 hours. Get the rest of it out, and then have a full day under or 16 hours or whatever under foresight, where we can actually take advantage of the buff.
You could do that.
Yeah, I have greater restoration preps, so I can cast that on a couple people and sort of round robin it.
Okay.
Same.
It does take 100 GP worth of diamonds to cast.
Oh shit. Never mind.
Diamonds.
What's that?
Let's see.
Bosner has 100 diamonds, it looks like, in his inventory.
I have I could do it once.
Yep.
So lesser restoration
It doesn't.
Does that
get rid
doesn't
of-
Yeah,
do
that-
Right.
exhaustion. Never mind.
so I can do it to one person. I'll cast it on Damon because he seems to be our damage EP person.
Alright, I'm gonna take a break real quick to go pee. Be right back.
Oh. Everything's gone to shit. We're doing great, guys. Saving the world.
We're getting there.
Baby steps.
We're gonna blow up the moon.
What?
Wasn't
a
it-
moon.
Wasn't it the moon turning like a giant eye in the sky? We have to kill it now.
Yeah, for sure. The moon must die.
The confounded moon.
It's
I think
looking at us.
any great D&D campaign, if your moon is normal, then it's amateur hour.
BRB.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so missing Gert and Laurel.
Oh, I'm here. I just have to click the button.
Nice. Alright. Oh, got it. Okay. Did y'all decide anything while I was gone?
Don't
We're
think
gonna
so.
save the world.
Yeah, we were gonna blow up the
Hell
moon.
yeah.
That's right.
Right. Blowing up the moon.
Yeah? Okay. That's pretty good.
Exactly. It's a fly and just fly directly at the moon.
Can all of you roll me a d6?
Good numbers. Good numbers.
Wow.
Damn it.
Almost. /R instead of r/. Look at you guys. You just don't want anything to happen. That's what you're telling me with these dice. Like, I don't want anything good to happen or bad. Just nothing. Okay. You all are able to sort of do this advanced recovery thing, blowing some greater restorations. So Vosner used up his diamonds. Let me get rid of those. Isolde, did you cast it at all or no?
No.
Okay, so that would mean Isolde and Varel should both be at 1 point of exhaustion then?
Okay.
And then if we do a normal long rest, that'll get them up to clear.
No, because you guys just did a long rest.
Oh, the long rest got them to 1 exhaustion.
Yeah, the long. I basically gave you guys sort of a double long rest here. I'm not
Oh.
gonna give you a triple.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So am I at 0 exhaustion then?
Yes, because Vosner
Oh, okay.
cured you.
Okay, cool. Cool.
And then
I wasn't aware that we had done the long rest yet.
got it.
Because if Isolde was going to cast restoration, she would have needed to do it before the long rest.
We can retcon that. That's not a problem.
She's stingy with those diamonds.
Yeah, I mean, you could always try to go get more diamonds. That's an option.
The mines.
But if Isolde's not going to use them, then Vosner shouldn't have used his.
I mean, not necessarily.
He can make his own choice, even if it's the wrong one.
It's the wrong one, but we need our tanky boy to be tanky. So
Yeah.
Right. Because I thought we were all gonna get up to be good enough to go while we have foresight, because that's a huge buff.
Well, you still could. 1 point of exhaustion is not the end of the world. It's just disadvantage on ability checks.
Oh, that's fair.
I've been 1 point of exhaustion like half of my time as Varel, so
Most of the
hopefully-
time.
It's true. As
Just
long as we don't try
rewrite
and
time and change the roll. You don't need to roll the dice yourself if you can just tell the dice what roll they are.
It's exhausting, let me tell you.
I mean, if Varel and Isolde are cool with being exhausted and then going forward, then
Yeah.
all right.
Has it been 1 day since we sent Marin back?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, for the sake of Wish? Yeah, did we do all of the logistics for Wish? Did we reduce your strength and all that?
We did not. We did roll to see if I could cast it again, and I believe I passed that, but then we stopped. But let me look into all of that.
Why don't you have...
You'd
Wish.
already added it to my inventory.
Oh, I was looking at attributes, sorry. And that was all your favorited things. Wish isn't your favorite? Let's see how it is.
I wouldn't be able to prepare it, and so I haven't favorited it.
Why can't you prepare it?
I have all of my prepared spells filled already, and I don't think... Oh, I guess now that a day has passed, I would have had time to prepare it, so...
Yeah,
Did you prepare something new when you leveled up?
No, I could have done that as well, but...
You also got your 2 spells for leveling up, or whatever it was. I don't know. Whatever the rulebook says.
I'll make those notes.
Okay. So yes, Wish has some riders on it. The stress is blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't think I've cast any spells.
After using that stress each time. Oh yeah, so you didn't. I'll say you don't suffer this. Yeah, I'll say you're okay because we'll just say the Mythalar tanked it basically.
And Hrodel really kind of
Yeah.
did a bunch.
Yeah. Okay, no worries then. Lyra sort of sits with her arms crossed in the corner, sort of looking off. She seems like she doesn't know what the fuck y'all are gonna do. Or what to do.
I'm not certain what course we wish to pursue from this point, but it does seem that our allies grow thin. Is there perhaps some utility in reaching out to the former Queen of Luskan?
Actually, I think that would be a great idea. When we were talking to Mel, he said that the Queen of Luskan is against the Shadowvar, but not necessarily allied against or allied with anyone else. So I think that might be a good good person to talk to. There's also
We should reach out to her at some point, but I think we should press our advantage now. If that makes sense. Like, we should go on the offense immediately after our last victory and sending him back, the wizard back. And then we can deal with the queen.
probably a good idea. Who should our first target be?
The general was on the dragon was kind of a pushover. We could try to
It's
go
kind
ahead.
of a 2 birds with 1 stone situation because it is likely that that general was brought to the the tomb, the what's it called? The sarcophagus, the true resurrection sarcophagus in the ruins of Luskin.
Most likely.
Yeah,
So
we
we would
could
need to head that direction anyway.
head to
That may
Luskin.
be that may be to everyone's advantage. If we can offer her her former seat of power, the Queen may find our cause even more sympathetic.
Tis
Feeling a
perhaps.
furious glow at Luskin would be a victory, it seems.
Selfishly, I am curious as to whether or not we could use that coffin to restore Johov.
Isolde knows now, being this level, the power of true resurrection is limited to beings that did not die of natural causes.
No.
Would Johoff even want to return? He could have moved on and not died if he'd wanted to. This was a volitional death on his part.
I think you are right. Still hard for me to let go, I guess. Much like it was with Ian. I know he was ready to go, but it was difficult to see him. Well, I suppose we should head towards Luskin then, but we will need to try to be as covert as possible.
Not just busting their guns blazing.
Well, we're already like glowing beacons of magic.
I mean, I just got Meteor Swarm and I want to try it out, so that's the main.
Let's do it. Start slinging some meteors around.
I mean, I got that awesome, vengeful weather pattern. I know you guys saw as we were walking in.
Mm-hmm.
Vengeful weather, I think it's called.
Vengeful
Storm
storm.
of Vengeance.
Okay.
Just want to ruin everything.
Yeah, you guys are just gonna go level a city with a bunch of like poor oppressed people in it.
We're gods.
You know what heroes do.
Yeah.
some, some Avengers vibes.
At best, the Avengers are like level 4. Anyway,
Lyra,
yeah.
can you get us to Luskin? And will you be safe here while we're gone?
Lyra looks around and sort of, you see her testing some magic in the air, and she sort of taps into the latent magic in the Shadow Weave and pulls some threads and says, "This place should be safe enough from scrying, much like Ythrun was. I can stay here."
All right. I suppose it's to Luskin then.
You're really just gonna go straight into the heart of the city?
Well, into the ruins, I think.
If Verminard was resurrected, which he likely was, they may not have needed a true resurrection. His body escaped you. You have no idea when they would cast the spell. Shar herself could be there, for all you know.
Do you have other suggestions?
Well, there are other generals. There's one who watches over Waterdeep. An assassin who goes wherever he pleases. Tracking him down might be nearly impossible. And from what I could see, watching the fight, it appears that you slayed their wizard, though soon she will probably return.
It's true. Do you have any insights on the generals based on what you've been seeing?
What would you like to know?
Know where her phylactery might be?
Yeah.
Likely in the flying Netherese city, above Mossstone.
Yeah, that's probably a no-go.
Yeah, probably.
Remember, you don't need to kill the generals, you just need to get their amulets.
Yeah.
The generals will return, even if you do defeat them. Each and every one of them. She looks at you and says, scrying on the amulets might be your best bet.
Does anyone know that spell?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. If we can spare 10 minutes, then we can do that. Would it be through the connection of knowing what possession they have?
You would be scrying on, I think, an object, right? Can you do that? Or is it just a location or a person?
You can see and hear a particular creature you choose.
I thought you could scry on objects.
Oh, never mind. I'm mistaken. Instead of targeting a creature, you can choose a location you have seen before as the target of the spell.
Oh. So it's not an object. Sorry, I had that wrong.
I may be able to legend lore an object and see if at the end of its legend we get some indication of its current location, as we did with the staff in the past.
I mean, we could scry on the general who we are reasonably certain has the object.
This is true.
Yeah, you can do that.
I believe we're scrying on Verminard then.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So would that be first-hand knowledge, having confronted the target?
Oh yeah.
So.
And I don't know if the connection, knowing his likeness.
What's the save? Wisdom saving throw?
Yeah. I don't think I can use any of my fancy stuff to affect, because that's all ranged.
While he's casting that, Taryn will ask Lyra if there's a way to, like, bind people such that they can't be resurrected. Like, if you sell your soul, you are bound to the hells and cannot come back. Is there a way to magically replicate that?
Is there a way to magically replicate binding people's souls?
Yeah.
Like the devil contract?
Yeah. So, like, in theory, when you sign that contract, you can't be resurrected anymore.
Lyra wouldn't know anything about that. That's sort of like outside of her purview.
Mhm.
Bayroll. For the record, we said you can't scry out of this place before, but I'm just gonna say that Lyra sets up like a situation for you so that you can scry outwards.
Sure.
But you notice that she does it by crafting something using the Shadow Weave. So, some magics that you do not have access to. She builds sort of a location where you can scry out of, almost like a scrying circle instead of a teleportation circle.
Yeah, I note that also, the connection to the spell book, and I don't know that I need an in check to make that connection, so I'll have to ask her about that.
You scry upon Verminard. Roll me a d6. You find him sitting at a table, surrounded by men in armor, drow, and other Shadowvar agents, all looking rather militant. He looks sort of gruff and angry, his skull helmet with horns sort of sitting on the table. You can see his pale complexion, his dark red eyes sort of beaming as he stares into his plate of food that has gone cold because it's uneaten. He seems angry. Around his neck, you don't see an amulet.
It's lost the privilege.
So I guess they're gifts, and if you prove yourself unworthy, then they're rescinded.
Roll
Which kind of-
me a perception check on Bayroll.
At disadvantage, I assume.
If you have exhaustion, yeah.
Well,
Even with a 10, you can see that he has a crudely drawn battle plan on the table that seems to be targeting an island. Sort of circles drawn around it, some arrows pointing towards different movements of troops.
and I can't discern the shape of the island.
Roll me an investigation.
Could I Mistra this?
Yep.
Let's throw a 17 on it.
Okay. 17 plus what?
You said investigation, that would be +5, so that would be a 22.
Your investigation is only plus 5.
Yeah.
Are you proficient in it?
I am
He is
not.
not.
I have weird proficiencies because I'm a weird player.
Nice.
Loser. I mean, cool.
Okay. You look at it and you recognize it, even though you can't read it, like you can't read the labels on the map. That seems to be the shape of the island of Gunderlin.
Cool, 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 cool. Assuming I've gotten all the information I can out of the scry, I would take the hood off, open my eyes, and say to my squad,
Gang, gang.
Verminard is not taking his defeat well, but neither is he resting. He has no amulet with him, but he is planning a battle on what appears to be Gunderlin.
What are we talking about? Old Garland? Like off of Luskin?
Yes.
we should. Do you know when it commences?
I would imagine soon. The plans were rather specific.
Might be worthwhile to send the Queen a message.
Immediately would be best, I would assume.
John, I know that we used sending to locate Mel. If I send a message to the Queen of Luskin, is there going to be like a magical trail leading to her?
Oh yeah. Like a shooting star across. In fact, every time you guys cast a distance spell, that happens.
Cool.
Perhaps
what if
not then.
I were to send animal messengers?
They could fly there. There's a potential they could be killed on the way, but they could fly.
I mean, we know where it is.
Right. So, like, if we get close enough, could I send animal messengers to like send a message, and then maybe not be as much of a risk?
Potentially.
Perhaps we should just speak with her in person. If Verminard intends to attack Old Gunderland, this would be the perfect opportunity to lay a trap, which would necessitate our presence either way.
This is wisdom.
Agreed, and we can prove our alliance to her by defending her if needed. Again, we will have to move quite stealthily, but I think this is a good course of action.
Lyra looks up. Where do you want to go?
To Gunderland, I believe.
We should probably send a message before teleporting in, because they probably have defenses against teleporting.
I don't want to draw that kind of attention, though. If we teleport in, John, is that the same sort of like, hey, crazy magic beacon?
Not if Lyra does it.
Okay.
Can Lyra send a message?
If we could teleport to the outskirts of Gunderland and send a message from its shores, this might be safest.
Very well. I've seen the shores of Gunderland.
Can we
Whatever
describe?
happened to that other charming individual from Luskin with the eye patch?
Oh yeah, and the
Benji.
thick. But what about the thick pencil thin mustache guy?
Who are you talking about? I'm talking about there were a bunch of different squad leaders. There was Gilgamesh, and then there was
Benji.
I don't remember his name.
Benji.
Benji, but he like got away. We'll have to track down Benji. Anyway,
I would say that Gilgamesh is working, according to Mel, working alongside the Queen,
okay.
so that he might be the best person to reach out to.
I mean, we can just reach out to the Queen.
We're not reaching out to anyone because it's gonna create like a trail straight to her.
Can Lyra send messages?
She can, but also, you know the message, like, you know they know where she is. Like, she's on Gunderland. She's not hiding there. She's, like, fortified there.
Sure, but like that's a very clear like they know where the messages are coming from because we're like the only or one of the only groups of people that can send messages. So it would be like saying, not only are we on our way, but also that we're allied with the Pirate Queen. All in
Right.
one speaking star of magic.
Yeah. We don't want to use our magic because it will tip other people off. If Lyra that'd be great.
says, I've never met the queen.
Damn it. Alright. Well, I think teleportation, and then maybe I could send my message animals over there. If we get close
if
enough,
we can-
a response in a day or so.
And if they don't work, we can send a message like from within the island, but
I mean, once we're there, we should be able to just send a normal message because,
yeah.
we'll be glowing there. It's not like this little sliver of glowing is going to change
Yeah.
everything.
Okay.
So let's just teleport to the outskirts of Gunderlin and
It
go
will
from
probably be immediately accosted anyways.
there.
Lyra draws a teleportation circle on the ground for a return. And then she gathers you all around. Are you ready?
Always.
Very well. She casts teleport, sending you across time and space over to the Isle of Gunderlin on the shores. Let me see if I have something for this, you crazy fuckers. Like forever having to invent art.
What? You're not prepared for our. I mean, it's pretty logical to us where we're going.
I mean, I ask you every time before sessions where you're going.
Just
You
going to save
you
the
guys said you were gonna go hang out with Aureus, so I mean, I don't even know.
I thought that's what we were gonna do. But then Ethern's
To
not
be
here.
fair, when he said that, we thought we could get back to Yithrin.
Yeah. But no, all of a sudden, he decides to take over the world. Potentially. Allegedly. Man, I love D&D.
It's like a box of chocolates.
Yeah. You don't know which ones are poisoned.
Or which ones are secretly mimics.
Or coconut. God, I think that's the worst. I'd rather have a mimic. All right. So to Gunderland.
Okay. Just throwing this shit together.
Roll initiative.
That's what I heard.
All right, rolling initiative.
You all die immediately, teleporting into rocks. Let's start a new campaign. Something
Light.
Something a little bit less heavy. All right.
It's over?
I thought we beat D&D. We
Okay.
all got level spells. I thought that was the
You
point.
arrive at the outskirts, sort of on the shore. Looking upward, you see these old Nordic sort of home scaling the cliffside, you see a number of people walking around in between the buildings. This island is very populated. People walking around, getting shit done. You feel at once that you are spotted. Lyra looks at you all and says, "Let me know if you need a way out." And she teleports in an instant back.
Cool.
Stan, your mic's picking up stuff again.
Okay.
You might just turn down your music or something.
Yeah.
Your voice has been pretty solid so far. Okay.
The scene change increased my music volume. And,
Oh, yeah.
so people spot us and...
Yeah.
Does it look like guards are, like, approaching us?
Yeah, people are shuffling down. Just a further description, this dark, shadowy island is present, has a number of people on it. It's the most populous place you've seen in a long time. And around you on the shore, you see in the distance hundreds of ships, all of them sort of just off the shore, docked or anchored here. This is the place of like basically every current ship run by non-Shadowbar agents.
I'm just going to ask if there's anything to these ships or these approaching people that indicate they work or are working with the shadow bars. I'm able to tell for sure, but
You hear in the distance, "Hey, you! Who the fuck are you?" They're running towards you with spears.
Taryn will take a couple steps forward and say, "We come in peace and bearing news. The Shadowvar are readying an assault."
You see like one of them rush up to you. Now they've sort of gathered around you in a semicircle as you're sort of standing on the shore, sort of waves crashing gently beneath your feet. And the head guy with like sort of a big helmet on with like a single horn protruding out of one side looks at you and says, "How did you get here?"
Taryn is like ready to like demand to speak to the queen, and then is just like baffled by the question. And he's like, "We teleported?"
And all of them draw spears immediately.
"We must speak with the queen. It is urgent."
We will decide who speaks with the queen. Teleportation is shadow magic. And more people sort of move in on your position to arrest you.
Beryl speaks up. Says, "Teleportation is magic. You are making a mistake."
He spits on the ground. He says, "There is no magic left in this land," and they approach you to restrain you. Do you resist?
Taryn will kind of like rearrange his clothing so that his like the mark on his chest is like shining out. And he says, "There is magic beyond the shadow. We are enemies of the Shadowvar. Down to our core."
As Terran says that, Beryl appears as 4 duplicates of himself.
So you cast the spell mirror image?
Time slice, yeah.
Oh, as you cast this spell, a large pulse of light echoes out, and as it sort of pulses through, a wave kind of crossing over everything, this wave of light breathes color back into this island for a brief moment, at least in this small bit of shore, and all of them sort of step back.
Yeah, can I make a persuasion check? And
Yeah, what do you want to say?
I'll say we are agents of the light, and we our magic comes from the old ways, and we stand against the shadow.
Yeah, roll persuasion.
Can I like basically help with that by saying, we will not resist you, but you must bring us to the queen.
Okay, yeah, I'll say you get advantage. Oh, you guys have advantage anyways for foresight. He is sort of blown away. Of course, you guys are all standing there glowing, so you have color to your skin and face. And so you are already sort of an enigma or a mystery when you arrive. Now that you can demonstrate that you can cast magic, that it's not of the shadow variety, they're kind of taken aback. And you see him sort of send a runner to go up the hill and towards the keep, which is kind of visible in the distance. This keep you might recognize, as you at one point snuck into it to kill the king on behalf of the queen.
Damon almost murdered me.
Yeah, he did.
Good times.
Classic.
Good times.
Some things never change. And he runs up the hill, and you're all sort of left there, and the guard says, well, don't move. Don't do anything else. We're going to figure out what we're supposed to do here.
Of course, but please, do it quickly.
Where do you hail from?
Taryn will just say the past.
Good answer.
We all came from the past at some point. That's how time works.
Some of us move through time in a less direct fashion.
You could tell this is going above his pay grade. Is there anything you'd like to do while you're waiting for them to send a person on foot? Seeing none. Eventually. Oops. Oh, Stan,
Well,
there's things
yeah,
loading.
actually, just on the off chance they're gonna ask us to surrender our weapons, can I say that I have like strapped Inferno to my back or whatever, just so I have a weapon to
Sure.
surrender, if it comes to that.
For the purposes of giving the illusion of, okay.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily attuned to it or anything, but
Coming down the hill. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to show that yet. Coming down the hill, walking very elegantly. Ooh, Stan, you gotta mute yourself in between or something. It's pretty bad. Maybe I'll change the song for you. Let's see. Maybe I get something else. Let's do. Oh, that's gonna be bad too.
I can just turn off my music. It's fine.
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe I can't.
Yeah, at the top in the music thing, there should be a slider. It says playlists. If you set that to 0.
Yeah.
Coming down the hill, walking very elegantly, sort of almost like a cat, you recognize the figure of the queen. She strolls down with purpose towards you all, and stands before you Behind her, Gilgamesh stands menacingly, looking over all of you in your glowing light. Behind them, 2 of the Queen's elite guards and 2 members of her Queensmen. All around you are a number of other guards that aren't visible here on the scene. And around the Queen's neck, you see a topaz amulet.
Interesting.
Glowing brightly.
Can I make an insight check to just kind of like size up Gilgamesh?
Yeah. Roll me insight. He has specks of gold and silver and bronze and blue and green and red. Gilgamesh has slayed every type of dragon on the continent.
Interesting.
He looks pretty fucking buff.
Noted. Yeah.
The queen sort of stands there impatiently, her topaz amulet sort of ringing out almost in a bright yellow color. You rang?
Taryn will kind of step aside for Isolde to take control, take the lead.
We are here with news of, well, we are here with news of things going on with the Shadowvar. It's nice to see you again.
She eyes you up and down. You haven't
Likewise.
aged. You haven't aged a day. Where have
Quite
you been
complicated.
all these years?
I have not been. There was, we were brought here, magically, from the past.
She smiles at that. Isolde, as you see her smile betrays her her teeth, and you see her canines are especially elongated.
Cool.
Cool. She's gone vampire. Great.
And now you return to hang out on Gunderlin? Perhaps to... what? Vacation here?
Certainly not. We're hoping that you could illuminate us as to what's been going on Gundolin. It seems to be thriving.
Thriving is a, curious choice of words.
Relative to the rest of the world.
Well, perhaps you can answer me this. Why is it that you're glowing? The Shadowfell does not seem to touch your skin.
As an aside, did Taryn's mark change as well?
I think it grew as you leveled. Everybody's grew as they leveled. It's not so much changing as it is growing, and as it grows in size, the extra additional space it adds sort of adds additional designs so that it sort of dwarfs the original mark a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I guess here's one thing I should have mentioned. Because now that you're bringing it up, it's making me realize I fucked something up. Gilgamesh is glowing too.
Okay.
Is there like an origin of the glow?
Just like you.
Got it.
Did I like notice like a mark or something when I sized him up?
With that insight, you see something peeking over his wrist.
Okay. But I don't like recognize it.
It's obfuscated by his clothing.
Noticing that, Taryn will respond and say, "It doesn't seem that those untouched by the shadow are completely unfamiliar to you."
Yes, but they are rare. And they are powerful, and they are dangerous. I know who Gilgamesh stands for. Who do you stand for?
We stand for the old magics. Stand against the shadow. You could call it divine magic. But we don't serve divinity.
Is that why you bear the mark of a god on your neck? To not serve them.
They have failed to serve us.
And yet they have blessed you with great powers.
I do not deny that part of my identity is this mark and my service to a mother. You have known me in the past. But our hope now is to restore this world. And we do that in service of the people, not the gods.
Ah. The people I've been protecting for 30 now years. You've come to save them. How convenient. Perhaps I should just retire.
Perhaps you can point us in the right direction. Tell us what you need. Tell us how we can help.
Well, you could start by killing the god Shar. She walks this plane. I've seen her with my own eyes. Kill her, and, perhaps the head of the dragon will mean the rest of the body withers and dies on its own. Problem solved.
You mistake simplicity for convenience.
Oh, is that what I did?
Is it not obvious?
She has always been rather to the point, and I must say she has always been rather effective.
But for this, you ask too much of us.
Yes, a bit, There are things that we must do, I think, before that happens.
And there are probably more pressing concerns.
Like what? And she sort of like sits down on a stool that's nearby and like crosses her legs. She seems really interested to listen to what your plans are.
Bayroll saw plans of an assault.
You seem to be preparing for it.
We are always prepared. That is the only reason this island has not fallen for 30 years.
At the moment, though, you prepare for something indeterminate.
Always.
Verminard will be
Sorry.
Verminard will be launching an attack.
I imagine he's angry for what we did to his poor, poor dragon. And Gilgamesh smiles. Let him
Did you
come.
kill the dragon?
Oh, yes. And took his little bauble, and she sort of flicks the amulet on her neck. I imagine he'll be coming for this. Let him
Indeed.
come. His dragons will drink the deeps of the sea long before he gets to this island.
We have a shared interest in keeping that out of his hands.
You have a shared interest in keeping this. She holds it up.
Really not what she said.
Keeping it from Verminard.
And why?
Why don't we want powerful magical artifacts in our enemies' hands?
I'm surprised you know of it. How long have you been here?
Not long.
You seem to know a great deal about the conflict already. Who feeds you this information?
We have sought it out, just as we have come here seeking information from you.
As you're all standing there and she's sort of sitting down, her crew people, her like servants, have come and provided you all with stools to sit in the sand, sort of on the beach next to her. You're having this impromptu meeting out on the shore. Well, I've told you what I know. I know that you need to kill the queen. Or kill Shar, sorry. As difficult as that is, it is quite simple. Other than that, I know no end of this conflict.
We have the same ends, then. That is the end of this conflict.
And what means do you seek to achieve this end? You just want to help me kill Verminard? That's no matter. I can do that on my own.
You wear part of the means around your neck.
Her eyes dart over to Veyral. Go on.
Surely you know it is powerful.
Yes. And very beautiful. She sort
Do
of
you know?
models it.
Do you know why?
No, but I imagine you will tell me.
In time.
Taryn will say, in combination with similar artifacts, it can be used in a ritual that would overthrow even a god.
This old thing? She sort of twirls it around her finger.
It and others like it, yes.
Ah, well then that's easy enough. Bring me the others, and we will kill Shar together.
You will not leave the island.
Why would I? They control everything else. They can take down Waterdeep and Candlekeep, Mossstone, Luskin, Neverwinter. If they can take that, then, well, there's no point in staying on the mainland. Plus, we're well fed out here.
Ew.
Plenty of stock to go around. And as she says that, her fangs are sort of bared.
Thanks.
Well, it seems that you have a good position to wait this out. As we prepare what we need to prepare.
Very well. Bring me those other baubles when you find them, and perhaps we can talk then.
What do you know of the other holders?
The generals.
Yes.
One's possessed by a very mean witch, whose magics go uncontested. The other is held by Talona, the woman single-handedly responsible for overthrowing Waterdeep, her and her armies. And that's all I know, aside from Verminard.
Hmm.
Who's coming back, by the way. They always come back. I've killed
And he's already
witch
back.
twice. They seem to have an endless supply of resurrection magic. Probably something having to do with Shar.
Probably.
Your plan is more than just to endure their endless return of attack, I assume.
Well, just to make it too costly and bothersome for them to even consider it. That is how we've lasted this long. It would take them hundreds of years to build a fleet that could compete with this. They're just waiting us out now.
Surely the only reason you are still here is because they have not seen fit to devote enough resources. Surely if Cephas were to show up, you would not be able to stand against him.
Gilgamesh looks at you and smiles and says, "Even Cephas could not compete with us." And the queen sort of gestures to Gilgamesh and says, "Yes, we are particularly skilled at taking down dragons at this point." Well, I suppose if you have no further questions, I would like to see those baubles within the week, if you could manage it. And I will see you at your earliest convenience. Please do have some fish. It is delicious.
And you will have the head of Cephas by then as well.
If he shows his head, I will have it.
Is
Maybe
it
so.
possible to have lodging temporarily here on the island?
I see no reason why not. You are guests. And she sort of gestures towards one of her people and says, "See to it that they have lodging. Make it nice." And she starts walking away from you all. Gilgamesh sort of stays behind, looking at Terran before smiling, turning around, and following after the queen. sort of juggling a bit of arcane magic in his hand as he does it. And they walk up the hill. What would you like to do?
If they don't need our assistance, I'd rather leave before the assault.
Well, and what if they do need our assistance and their bravado gets the best of them? The shard could fall back into Verminard's hands.
It is probably better not to speak of the shard while on this island.
Payroll. Out of the corner of your eye, you've been kind of tired lately. You see a sensor watching you. In fact, you just realized it's been here the whole time.
Upon seeing that and hearing parents say, we shouldn't speak of the amulet, Bear would say it serves no point. Somebody else knows. The attack is inevitable and our plans are known.
Just out of game, Laurel, did you and Gert need to go in the next, 15 minutes? You mentioned something about that. She's already left. Isolde?
Sorry. Can you say that again?
Did you guys need to leave in the next 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So, here's what I will say. You all stand on the shore of Gunderlin. Not entirely sure of what your next move is. The queen has walked away. She's instructed somebody to provide you with lodging, which you can take or not. And a censor is present, watching you, as Veyral says that everything you've talked about has been observed. Veyral, you feel in the spellbook on your belt, the one that was Valindra's, you feel it move slightly in your belt. What do you do?
Do we have a bag of holding?
Oh yeah, every one of you has your own bag of holding at this point.
Could I put it in there?
You grab the spellbook to put it in the bag of holding. The front of the spellbook changes as the leather makes a rip in the seam and an eye opens up, staring straight into your eye. Make a intelligence saving throw.
Cool.
No.
But with advantage, right?
Yes, with advantage.
Sorry.
Okay. The DC was 23. You take 2d8 psychic. As a psychic scream appears in your mind. It's like a mild headache. You drop the book on the ground, but before it even touches the ground, you see it disappear.
nuts.
And next to you, hovering in the air, a dark and shadowy sensor appears to your vision. Valindra is watching you. There are now 2 sensors. And we will pick up there next time, where you guys decide what your next step is during the break so that I can prep it.
No promises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is tense.
Yeah, that was good. There's a lot of tension.
I know, it's like three sessions in a row with no combat.
It's still good though. There's so much adrenaline going on right now. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah, that was good. Cool.
All right,
I'm nervous.
we gotta take this baby to a hockey game.
Have fun.
I get it. Legally obligated to do those basic checkups.
Yep, you know. Have to do it before she's 2 years old. That's the rule.
Sounds like science.
Get on it.